It's Monday, May 26th, and you're listening to the Geek News Central. This is show number 950, sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. Get 32% off at GoDaddy or pick up a domain name for $2.95. All my specials can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. Hey, it's great to be back with you on a normal schedule. Lots to share. Lots of things have happened since I was last with you last week. You guys know what's coming next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There's no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Showtime.
Hey everyone, welcome to Geek News Central. Of course, my name is Todd Cochran. I'm your beloved host here, and we're going to get a little geeky tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about tech, news, science, and some stuff that's been going on here. So hope everyone had lots of barbecue, had chicken, hot dogs, steaks, whatever you roasted up this Memorial Day weekend for those of you here in the United States. I hope you had a good time. Hope you had a safe holiday. I had a barbecue-free weekend, and we'll talk about why here in just a few moments. But hey, for all of the Ohana, all the longtime listeners of the show, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the family. And if you're brand new to the show, hey, we want to welcome you to Geek News Central and encourage you to stay subscribed for many, many, many years to come. And I tell you, 950 shows with this one will be in the bag with the race to 1,000. So the countdown really kind of starts at this point on preparedness for show 1000, which I'm looking forward to getting to. Well, I tell you, I want to make sure if you're brand new to the show, make sure you get over to the website at geeknewscentral.com. The writers over there, all the bloggers that contribute content to the website have been putting up a lot of content. So we want to make sure that you get over and view everything on a daily basis on what's going on at the website, because there is new content up there every single day. Oops, wrong button. I want you to come up on the website every single day and basically check us out. I'm two thumbs tonight, I think. So there we go. Let's change that. Let's change this. There we go. But anyway, get over there, subscribe to the show. The newsletter's there for you as well, so that you can get subscribed to the newsletter. The newsletter contains everything that I'm going to cover in tonight's show with all the hyperlinks to it, so make sure you get subscribed to the newsletter. And the Gadget Professor is up there as well. Don't forget to check out the other shows, Robot Underpants, the new media show that are produced weekly by our great guest as our host as well. So definitely check it out. Of course, we want you to make sure that you stay in contact with this show. And to do so is really, really easy. And I keep pushing the wrong button here. What am I doing? All right, so let's try that again. All right, I know what I'm doing wrong. I'm just being a knucklehead. Two thumbs tonight. Hey, you want to follow me on Twitter? @GeekNews is the place to do that. Stay in contact at all times. And, of course, if you want to email the show, geeknews@gmail.com. You can follow me on Google+, on Facebook. That's really the place to go to find really what's going on with the community. And all of you that are insiders, I know you're part of our insider community as well. And I want to thank all the insider contributors at this point, too. Hey, this show tonight, of course, is sponsored in part by our good friends over at GoDaddy.com. And, GoDaddy's been here really almost from the beginning. In July of 2005, they came on board. So, here we're fast approaching 9 years continuous sponsorship of this show by my good friends over at GoDaddy. And we've got these great deals that are still hanging out there. Now, I will say the 20% renewal code died. It's gone. But we do still have a variety of codes. And these codes are there for you to use to save money. And really, all you got to do is go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy And all the codes are there. 32% off your new purchase or 25% off your order. Discount includes a new top-level domain extensions that are out of pre-registration. So you can save on some of those more expensive new TLDs like .guru, .directory, all these different cool new TLDs. And of course, we got 50% off new hosting plans with a free domain, 50% off first 12 months of a business website builder with a free domain. And of course, we've got the 295.com. Don't forget 10% off on the Found product. Found 5 is the code to use there. And we've even got the website builder still for $1 a month, and that gets a free domain as well. So lots of options when it comes to codes, and we want to make sure that you get over to GoDaddy, save as much money as you can, mix and match my codes to give you the biggest impact. Go over there and pick up your domain names first, get that ordered, then pick up some hosting accounts, or if you get the domain name free with a hosting account, obviously you want to do that in one sweep. But really, that's the way to do it over there. Share my codes with your friends, family members, people that you know, people that you care about, even people that you don't care about, because we all want everyone to save money at all times. So we want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here at the show. And really, these codes are there for you to use. Now, I think come the end of the month, we're probably going to have some new offers, but I think the 32% code is good for about another month. Can't say anything more about the rest because I don't know when they'll kill those, but we'll keep you advised, okay? All right, so let me see what I got in my stack for you. I do want to share one thing to start off with tonight. I don't know if I talked about it on the last show or last couple shows or not, but what my wife and I are doing right now is it's called a transformation, and it's basically a 10-day. It's basically you go on complete organic, green, vegetable type food products. It's like a cleanse and also trying to detox and everything else. And we're now on. This is day 3 for me, day 2 for my wife, and really, it's a pretty incredible so far. I thought that when I went on this, because it's very little food, they give you limited stuff you can eat, like apples, cucumbers, vegetable broth, a variety of, there's a 10 or 15, I guess, what they call flex foods. But I was really kind of stressing because I thought I don't do well without food. I get kind of funny. I can get grumpy. I can lash out. And so far, this system that I'm trying right now, for first 3 days in, and it's a 10-day deal, and then it goes into an every other day for the next 20 days. So you come off this, you go back on regular food. Their goal is obviously to try to get you to change your eating habits and everything that goes along with, doing a 10-day cleanse / purge, or whatever you want to call it. And again, I'm just talking about my experience. So far, it's been really, really good. And so I'm not going to announce my weight loss until near the end, but I have seen results already. Obviously, you expect to see something dramatic at the very beginning, and then it'll slow down as time goes on. But at least in my opinion so far, I'm pretty pleased with the results. So what I'm doing is it's called Purium, Purium. It's Purium Health Products. It's something that's been real popular here in Hawaii. We got turned on to it by some family members. Actually, we got family members that did it, and then we had some friends that did it, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's great, it's great, it's great!" And everyone was, basically talking about great results. And then what my thing is okay, what happens after? Does the weight come back on? Because that's what the bounce back worry is, right? If you go back into some of the same bad habits, boom, the weight's going to come back on. So far, everyone that we've talked to has done very well post the first 10-day, and then going on like an every other day program or something to that effect. But you guys can check it out if you want. I'll let you know how it goes. I'm going to tell you the full skinny after we get done. I'm going to talk to you about the bounce back. But I will say this. I weighed in at 220 pounds. That was my weigh-in. And, if I get if I lose 10 or 15 pounds over the 10 days, that would be great. We'll see where this leads. But just kind of give you guys as a disclaimer where my starting point was. And what's really amazing is I feel pretty good. First couple of days was, you can definitely tell withdrawals from caffeine and all the stuff that goes on when you go cold turkey on some of the stuff that your body is kind of, in mostly I'm sure it's just the caffeine, but definitely you can tell there's something going on because and you still have those cravings. The kids were eating some curry or something. I was like, oh my God, I want the curry, and yet trying to stay on the program and not cheat, and that's the main thing. And thus far, I haven't cheated and been good. So I keep you advised how it goes. Many of you probably don't care about this at all, but at 220 pounds, I needed to lose some weight. And, if I can get down to over the next 6 months or so, get down to like 180 pounds, I'll feel much better. And then we'll take it from there. 6 to 9 months, we'll see where the weight loss goes. But anyway, myperium.com/podcast. If you use that code over there, you get $50 off on your order. There is a business portion to this thing as well. Full disclaimer on that. So if you pick up product, using my code, you get the discount. Plus, I earn a commission. But at the same time, you have the opportunity to do your own thing. So we'll talk more about that later. And it's not. I want you guys to figure out, based on how I do, to give you an idea how this thing works. And we'll see. We'll just keep you advised on that. But anyway, that's what's going on here, and that's why there was no barbecue, there's no hot dogs, there's no steaks. But I end this thing, I think on June 2nd. So what that means is that for my birthday, woohoo! Turn it on, baby! Let's go and let's fire up some steaks. And but anyway, we'll see how it goes when we get to that point. But anyway, that's what's going on here. In the over last weekend, did have my mom and sister. They flew out Friday afternoon. My daughter's graduation was this past Thursday. That was fantastic. I put photos up on Facebook. If you missed them, go take a look. Matter of fact, I put up a link in the show notes tonight for you to check out. You can see how they do graduation here in Hawaii. It's pretty crazy. It's much different than probably what you see in the mainland. Still tracking what's going on with my power here in the house with the Watt Vision tool. It's proving to be very useful. I'm taking times and I'm individually turning stuff off. I know exactly now pretty much throughout my entire house what power is using. I still have about 500 watts that are unaccounted for, and just got to find a time just to click breakers off to see where that goes. But so far, pretty good. And hopefully over time I'll be able to lower my water bill. I mean my electricity bill using the Watt Vision sensor that's on my power meter. All right, that's kind of it for what's going on with me. And let's get into the tech content. It's being Memorial Day. It's kind of tough. Not a lot of content, so we're going to get through this thing pretty fast. I'm actually starting this show incredibly early. I don't know if I can show it or not. Let's see here. Does that camera... Let me look and see where that camera's pointed. Can I move it? Dun, dun, dun. Oh, you can probably see. Let's see here. I'm on camera. Go to camera 7. So I flip that. It's still daylight here. So that is unheard of for me doing a show this early. But things just, kind of the Memorial Day holiday, everyone's home, kind of was able to do that. So anyway, that's where we're at. Let me go ahead and bring up now the stack of stuff that I've got for you tonight. And again, if you got comments on today's show, geeknews@gmail.com is the place to do it. And so let me just show you this real quick. And again, this is the website for the product line that I was talking about. myperium.com/podcast is the place to go find that those product lines. So let me see here. Let me go ahead and let me close you. And this is the first time I've really done anything serious like this. I've never done a diet, or I've done some stuff before, but I did Atkins a number of years ago. You guys maybe remember that. That definitely didn't turn out well because it took off a lot of weight and then just boom, it came right back on because it didn't change my eating habits. But, okay, so let's go ahead and start here with the tech stuff. Google is rumored to be looking at buying Dropcam. And you guys know that I've got a Dropcam here in the studio. I'd have it turned off during the live production to save on bandwidth. But really love this camera. I really, really do. So Google and Nest are obviously going to be moving into different home lines. And it's being rumored that they're going to move into this home security by buying out Dropcam. Now, at the same time, there's rumor on the street that Apple is going to be announcing some sort of home product or home security line as well. So this battle could be heating up. And really, I think what's going to do is this could change everything for a lot of companies. This could, if Apple or Google gets into the security line, just think of the impact here. Now, what makes me a little worried about Google going into home security is that comes with monitoring. So are they going to start building use cases, sales cases, marketing cases against us when we are tied into maybe a Google security system? Are they going to be looking and identifying what's in our houses by cameras that are on that, they're going to say, oh yeah, Todd's got this, and that, and this, and this is his lifestyle. This is when he leaves. This is when he goes in. This is when he goes to bed. Are they going to be watching that? Are they going to be building that into our life profile? Are they going to be able to tell if we're using a computer and closer tie all that together? So those are questions that we all have to be wary of if Google does decide to move into home security. We know that the Nest product had trouble. They recalled all of the smoke alarms that they had sold because they had they could be set off falsely. And so there's an incredible number of those that were recalled to be replaced. But that's a rumor anyway that Google may be buying Dropcams. So we'll see where this leads. At the same time, Steve Ballmer apparently, wow, do you guys hear that? That's someone's car. It definitely is not right. Steve Ballmer is interested in buying in the Clippers. So I guess that there's a whole bunch of people that are talking about buying the Clippers, and I guess he can afford it, but it seems kind of a weird mix for Steve Ballmer to be considering buying the team. There's a great article over on Ars Technica talking about what information the feds have on you in regards to travel. Obviously, when you leave the country and come back and you have, go through immigration, they scan your passport, ask you some questions. There's a digital record of that. There's also apparently a digital record of when you buy an airline ticket, train ticket, bus ticket, ties back to some IP data. So really, they've got this data that there's being funneled in. I'm sure it's being funneled into Homeland Security to try to prevent some knuckleheads getting on some airplanes and flying them into some buildings again. So one of the R's editors requested via the Freedom of Information Act, he asked specifically, he gives his name, his passport number, his social security, his date of birth. He says, I hereby request that any and all passenger name records, secondary inspection records, i.e. entry-exit records, I-94 records, HR records, I-TRAC inspection records, accounting of disclosures. I also request any electronic data shared from any financial lodging website to the federal government, including IP addresses, user agents, browser data. I also request any and all records that any of this data was shared with any foreign government agency. I swear on a penalty of perjury that I am the undersigned person. And he basically did it under a press Freedom of Information Act, so he didn't have to pay for it. So the data on him that he received after a long time, goes back 20 years. He received 22 pages by mail, but upon inspection by some folks that are familiar with the type of data that other folks have gotten back on Freedom of Information Acts, he says he got 72 pages of crap. He said that he didn't get his what's called a PNR record. And let me go back up the top. I'm not familiar with this stuff at all, but a PNR record is passenger name record. So he didn't get that specific data. And he says some stuff was actually missing. He thinks that they weren't maybe keeping records prior to him being about 12 years old, as nothing goes back farther than that. So it's interesting to see, look at the data that he's provided. He's put a link up to it. You can take a peek at it yourself in the show notes tonight. But it is interesting to think what what Uncle Sam has basically on file on all of us. Hey, I do want to thank all of you. I should have said this earlier. It's obviously Memorial Day. I want to thank all the veterans in the audience for their service, and any family members that have either lost a veteran member or have had a family member serve. Thank you for your support. Should have had that in my notes earlier, but I did not. At the same time, I want to thank everyone that has sent in email to the show, because we did get a bunch of email in that I failed to talk about before we got into content tonight. But got an email from Near. He said, "Hey Todd, a quick suggestion. It's easy to identify whether it's the fridge. Just unplug it and turn off the circuit breaker." Yep, we're there. We've done that. And thanks for that, Near. I got an email from. Let's see, make sure I'm not giving out information I've already talked about. No. So I got an email from one of our longtime listeners, and he said that he feels that I may be impacting the brand, the Geek News Central brand, about my tone of some of the stuff I've been talking about recently, specifically the FCC net neutrality, talking about toll trolls in my call to a political action, basically telling you guys to go out and submit your opinions to the FCC one way or the other. Also, he thought it was bad for me to be talking about Comcast versus Netflix and talking about peering, and basically he's just worried that I'm getting political in the show. And I try not to be political in the show. I try to tell you folks that here's the situation, here's what you need to go do. Whether if you agree or don't agree, you can submit testimony, you can sign petitions. So I'm just putting the options out there. You guys know that I have strong opinions on certain topics, and I try to be, I guess, for a better word, an equal opportunity basher when it comes not only to operating systems, but to political parties and to senators that do stupid stuff. I try to call them all on the table as much as I can, and Republican or Democrat or Independent, it doesn't matter. And you guys can form your own opinions, obviously, but I want to give you guys as much info as I can. And I hope it doesn't go to the point where you guys are saying, oh man, this guy's getting political. It's not that. I think some of the stuff with the FCC net neutrality is very scary, and I think people need to be involved. The Comcast versus Netflix peering, this to me is it really angers me that that is happening. But long story short, the listener, longtime listener, really close fan, was worried that I was. And if I have, you guys let me know, okay? Call me, let me know, geeknews@gmail.com. Tell me whether or not I'm getting too far, one way or the other. I got an email from Jeff. He says, "Hey, Todd, Google wants to put ads on our thermostats, refrigerators, and other appliances. I'll have that link up in the show notes for you to check out." I got an email from Bob. He says, "Hey, Todd, I've been using a TED power monitoring system for about 3 years, and he attached a graph of power use at his home versus time. He says the printout square we're running through the chart is the refrigerator switching off. My refrigerator is modern unit, but only medium size. On the chart, you can see the following. The fridge runs about 20 minutes once every hour. Given the conditions of why in your large family, I would expect to see a bit higher frequency. The power consumption of the fridge is less than 250 watts when running. And really what I've seen here is that we think we had a little bit of a sensor issue in the beginning, so I don't see those spikes as much as I used to. And it is, Bob, it was probably noise or the light, I was getting a reflection on it or something. So we did adjust that. But my baseline rate is 36.7 cents a kilowatt. So it is pretty high, but we do have something significant running all the time. We're still trying to, and we did find out that our koi pond pool, koi pond was pulling about 200 watts. So we know now exactly what that pulls. Anyway, Bob, thanks for your email. Got an email here from another email from Near. He says, "Hey Todd, thought you were interested about this amazing Kickstarter. It's called CO, Your Sixth Sense, a pocket molecular sensor." Now this is pretty interesting what they've done on this Kickstarter. They're already up to $1.9 million, but it's basically scans materials or physical objects, get instant relevant information to your smartphone, food, medicine, plants, and more. So this thing's been talked about pretty widely. So I'll have a link up in the show notes for you guys to check it out, and I'll probably end up being a supporter and funding that. We got another email from Jeff. He says, "Everything is broken," and this links to, let me see here if I can find what he was referring to. It's Umano, Umano, and I'm not familiar with what this does. All right, let me go ahead and Umano. I guess you can become a narrator of something. I don't fully understand what he linked me to here in the email. I'll have to dig that out, more details. Also, Samsung expected to unveil a call-making smart watch in June. We have a little more on that later in the show tonight. We've got an email from Ron talking about Google and Netflix teaming up against internet providers. I have that link up in the show notes. Got an email from Tim talking about solar being used on roadways and some YouTube videos. Are pretty cool. And finally, a last email from Jeff. Don't get too excited about the G3 2TB micro SD card support. So something to do about the G3. So I have that up in the show notes too. So everyone, thanks for your comments. Sorry we didn't get that at the beginning. I need to make myself a little note, big note, bold letters. Read listener email. geeknews@gmail.com is the place to be able to do that. All right, it's being reported, let's see if I get the right article up here, that the B-52, yes, the B-52 that's been flying since, my God, forever, for 50 years or so, gets its first full IT upgrade since 1961. There's a pretty good article about it. I'll have that link up in the show notes for you to check out. A lot of those electronics, pretty old in some of those airplanes, it just takes a lot of money, a lot of time to upgrade them for sure. Hey, YouTube is going to be launching a new app specifically for content creators. In an announcement made on the official YouTube partner and creators page blog today, YouTube unveils their first creator preview video, which is a rundown of new features they're working on. Among the new features, a brand new mobile app that gives video makers access to the YouTube creator features. Among new sets of features, the introduction of a monetization method where fans can contribute funds directly to their favorite video makers. That's cool. I like that a lot. Also in the works is something YouTube calls Creator Academy, which is a collection of support articles to help users get more out of YouTube. And finally, YouTube is working on a community caption project, which allows users to caption content so it's more accessible. The captioning if they're going to do community caption, that's cool. But it's a lot of work. I don't know how that will scale, to be honest with you. Moving on here, little news over at Yahoo. Apparently, there is a speculation that Google leaked the next generation Nexus tablet, what it looks like, and people say it looks a little different than current tablets. It's a little thicker than normal. So we'll see where this leads, but the new Nexus tablets do pretty shortly. Also, NASA's got a crowdsourcing project going on right now. They want you to help NASA pick the best reconnaissance orbiters moon images. So they basically are making the library available, and they basically are going to have you go through and pick what you think is a good image. And this is going to happen pretty quick. The actual lunar reconnaissance orbiter is celebrating 5 years of basically circling the moon, and it's been capturing some pretty cool images and data and helping us understand more about the heavenly body that's out there. The actual orbit anniversary is on June 18th. And again, to celebrate, NASA's culled through images, and it's up to the public to narrow the selection. Oh, you're just going to get to pick. Excuse me. So you get to pick some from those that they have chosen. and you can say which one is the coolest, and it'll go for a vote. So I thought they were going to let us scrounge the data. Sorry about that. I read that wrong the first time I reviewed it. So anyway, very, very cool. So anyway, I have the link up in the show notes for you to go take a peek at that. Talked a little bit about it in an email that came to the show from one of our listeners about the plan to cover the nation's roads with solar panels. Now, they had a Kickstarter that raised about $1 million to basically make this happen. They say the technology is there to be able to make this happen. And we kind of showed some of these panels before, but the challenge lays in the execution. Being able to put it down is very expensive, probably twice the cost of what it costs to repave a road today. So my question really is on this. All right, they're going to put this solar panels down on the roads. So what happens when there's a pothole or a road needs to be fixed or repaved? There's been no company yet known to man to be able to create a road that didn't deteriorate over 10 or 15 years. So that's a question I have. If they say it's like $56 trillion to redo all our roads with solar, but the question then becomes, okay, what's the reoccurring cost? It seems like it would be out of control, but they say we could fix our energy problems pretty much by doing this. Time will tell. Why don't we start with every building? Why don't we start with every building in America has solar on it? And do government subsidies like they have been. And I think that goes a long way. But, that probably makes the oil people upset. Or the coal folks as well. There's the former leader of the hacking group LultSec has helped the FBI stop more than 300 cyber attacks since his arrest on hacking charges in 2011. According to documents filed with the court, the group was responsible in the beginning with the major hacks into and thefts from computer servers belonging to companies from Fox, Nintendo, and Sony. And but what turns out is this guy by the name of Mr. Monsegur was arrested in June of 2011, pled guilty as part of his cooperation agreement with the U.S. government to 9 counts related to computer hacking. Among them, he's been very cooperative. So they're trying to see if they can, through court filings, get him a reduced sentence. If the guy's done this much, put him to work, give him a job, don't send him to jail. But we'll see where this leads. But he's been helping the FBI apparently stop over 300 cyber attacks. Pretty sad when they have to arrest a guy to be able to stop cyber attacks, doesn't it? Hey, there's a pretty cool article on Wired talking about wireless broadband. It can reach the moon and maybe Mars. They've been doing some new tests. And they use 4 separate telescopes based at ground terminals in New Mexico to send the uplink signal to the moon. A laser transmitter that can send information as coded pulses of individual infrared light feeds into each of the telescopes, results in 40 watts of transmitted power. But they were able to sustain speeds at 384,000 kilometers between Earth and the moon. The data rate was at 19.4 megs per second. And they also managed to download data at a rate of 622 megabits per second. Communicating at high data rates from Earth to the moon with laser beams is a challenge because of the 400,000 kilometer distance spreading out the light beam. So it's doubly difficult going through the atmosphere. So each of the 4 telescopes used to beam the connection to the moon transmits light through a different column of air, meaning they're all experiencing different bending effects from the atmosphere, and we're able to do this. So pretty cool stuff in getting data transferred. It goes to show you we'll be transferring data at the speed of light, literally, here in the near future. Hey, Google's released what's called Virus Tool Uploader for OS X. And for those of you that are Mac users and don't have a virus protection program on your computer, you now can basically get virus protection from the folks at Google. If you have a file that you're worried about, Virus Total Uploader for OS X allows Mac user to upload suspicious files for scanning. You can basically download it now for OS 10.8 and 10.9. It's a 8.5 meg download. And for those of you who don't know, Virus Total Uploader for Windows is a popular tool for submitting suspicious files to online scanning services Virus Total. The process is as simple as right-clicking on any file and selecting the relevant option from the context menu. The OS 10 version offers the following features: drag and drop. You can scan up to 50. It will scan it with over 50 antivirus solutions. You can schedule the analysis of an entire folder. You can there's an action application as well, and you can have an open with in Finder to basically scan a virus as well in OS 10. So this is pretty cool. So you guys not running antivirus or malware software, you can use this as a quick check on a file that maybe you download from the internet. There's apparently a Windows XP hack out there that allows you to update your registry and still get Windows XP updates. Now, here's the skinny. The registry hack was reported by Beta News and confirmed by ZDNet. Basically makes a system look like Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009, which is going to continue to receive software updates from Microsoft until 2019. Windows XP users can essentially get 5 years of updates with a simple hack. The hack spoofs the system identity, basically tricks the update servers at Microsoft into thinking that they're actually pushing updates for Windows Embedded POS Ready 2009. The OS based on Windows XP Service Pack 3 is compatible with 32-bit, and there seems to be a workaround for 64-bit systems as well. So I'll have the link up in the show notes for you to check that out. So that's kind of cool. Use it at your own risk here. We'll see how long it is before Microsoft shuts that down. There was a very interesting article in a variety of sites a couple of days ago, and the one I'm going to link to is the one in the New York Times. Talks about Amazon tactics, confirms its critics' worst suspicions. Now, we know for years, authors and publishers have warned Amazon, basically the book-selling giant, will one day use its power for ill. So, so far, Amazon's marketed itself as a book buyer's best friend. It sells books at really incredible prices. It delivers amazingly quickly and constantly invents new technology to improve the way we read. Yet, obviously, the book writing community is not real happy, and they've often greeted Amazon's move with suspicion. So here's what's going on. This week, as part of a contract dispute with the publisher Hachette, they're seeing Google seeing Amazon, behaving at its worst. The company's willingness to nakedly flex its anti-competitive muscle gives new concerns. Now, here's the story. In an effort to exert pressure on Hachette, Amazon began taking down pre-order buttons for many of their book titles. It also suddenly raised prices on some of their books and has changed its page design more prominently recommend other titles. The move follows weeks of increasingly hardball tactics. Among other customer-punishing moves, Amazon has increased shipping times for their titles from a few days to weeks. So this is kind of crazy here. And basically, they're in a contract negotiation with them, and Amazon is basically hurting their sales by doing this supposed dirty business here. So what happens when Amazon controls nearly an entire market? If Amazon is willing to do this now, what will they do later? Amazon may soon basically be a monopoly on book sales. And that will definitely raise the ire of the federal government. So we'll see what happens with this. But if they were really truly doing what said they were done, shame on Amazon. Let's be honest about that. I saw a title of an article today that kind of shocked me, and I was like, are you kidding me? But apparently Japan will build an ice wall at Fukushima. They apparently announced this back in May that the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant, we knew it was leaking radioactive water into the Pacific, and contaminated water was found to be overflowing from a storage tank. So after examining their plans, basically what they've done is they've been given approval, and they're going to about every 20 to 40 meters, they're going to drive vertical pipes into the ground. A coolant will then be pumped through the pipes, which would create a barrier of permafrost, acting as a physical barrier between groundwater and contaminated water. So I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, okay, how are they going to, are they really going to be able to make this happen? And to me, it sounds very expensive. But this is what they're going to do, is they're going to build this wall around this plant, and then they're going to freeze the soil. And they're going to go, I guess these pilings are going to be, how big are these pilings going to be? Let's look. Does it say? Oh, they're going to be, okay, basically drive a vertical pipe spaced a meter apart, only 3 feet apart, between 20 and 40 meters. That's 60 to 120 feet into the ground. So much, much deeper. So go up to like 120 feet in the ground, 20 inches distance between the pipes, and they're going to use that to freeze the ground. That seems more sensible. I was thinking 20 to 40 meters between. That didn't make any sense to me. So reading it closely, it does. But that's going to be their plan. How long that will physically last, is a good question. There's a good article over on CoinDesk, and apparently talks about there was a bot that it was basically developed and was being used as early as November 2013 to drive up trading of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's price on Mt. Gox rocketed from around 200 in early November to 1236 all-time high on the 4th of December. But they appear to had a bot named Willie that talks about the trading activity from around September to the end of November and what was really driving the increase. So it may have been a bot that was doing it, automated trading in Bitcoin. All right, Cox is planning on rolling out gigabit internet later this year. They haven't said what city they're going to roll it out to. But Cox, of course, is the third largest operator of U.S. behind Comcast and Time Warner and has some 6 million customers. The operator is initially going to upgrade its existing network in Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Omaha to provide gigabit speeds to residential customers by the fourth quarter of 2014. So bring it on. Bring it on, cable companies. Let's do it. Apparently, Chinese hackers have been denied visas to attend conferences in the United States. Chinese hackers specifically have been saying, hey, you're not welcome here. Events like DEF CON, Black Hat are pretty popular hacker conferences. And in fact, they are expected to take place in August later this year, of course, again. And it seems the U.S. government might be worried enough about Chinese hackers that they apparently are restricting their visas to prevent them from entering the country. So this is just another escalation in the things going on in the Chinese hacking space. All right, as long as alien life uses chemistry, we'll have the capability to find it. What is NASA biologists are saying? The James Webb Space Telescope, which is expected to launch in 2018, will have the ability to search for chemical signatures of life in alien atmospheres. And however, they're saying we're not sure how life begins or how pervasive it is, making it very difficult to pinpoint when and where to find it, scientists said during a session at the National Space Symposium held last week in Colorado. So they're pretty excited about what this is going to bring, what this new satellite or this new telescope is going to bring to astronomers. And just start building your candidate list and go after those planets and see what you can see from the signature that they put off. All right. This article, why didn't this load? Okay. There's a tablet called T-Class, T-E-C-L-A-S-T, model number P70HD. It delivers high-resolution display for just $100. This is pretty interesting here. Chinese tablet manufacturers, I guess this is made by China. Let me look here. About $100 to $111. Underneath the hood, you'll be able to find a A31 ARM Cortex A7 quad-core processor with a PowerVR SGX 544 graphics card, 1 gig of RAM, 8 gig of internal memory, 802.11n Wi-Fi, 2 meg camera. But for $100, not bad price. And it's powered by Android 4.4 KitKat right out of the box. So that's pretty interesting. $100. Chinese tablet though, so buyer beware. There's a new exoskeleton that is being developed for firefighters, and it's apparently going to be designed to allow firefighters to wear this. It will give them super strength to help them in fighting fires. This is a project that's been done by DARPA, and it's being adapted for obviously for fire departments. And it's already being developed for the military, but let me go ahead and bring this up here so you guys can see, those of you that are watching, can see some of the images here. And I found this over at Data Life 7, and they've, you actually got how it's going to look and, what it's going to do. And So pretty exciting stuff. Robotics is coming to firefighters. It won't be too long, and we'll be equipping this type of stuff with our police officers as well. There's a great article over on makeuseof.com. Many of you that have domain names have gotten emails before from a Chinese register saying, hey, your Pacific domain is in risk of being bought in China. Now, .cn domains have been public now for a while, but there's a pretty good write-up here on how these companies are scamming people and how you can actually have your regular .com scammed by these folks. So I'll have the link up in the show notes for you to check out, but pretty detailed information here on how to avoid being scammed from a Chinese company buying a .cm and even potentially getting your own .com. Are you guys concerned as I am about Twitter? Twitter has been pretty easy on governments and banning users when specific governments ask. Twitter's supposed to be a pretty open platform, and it's supposed to be a place for expressing one's opinion. But last week, it agreed to censor a pro-Ukrainian Twitter feed. In Russia, it also blocked a blasphemous, in other words, something that was going against religion account in Pakistan. Now, why are they doing this? Why are they blocking accounts? It's obvious to me that they're folding. They're worried about, they're trying to keep all their users on in those countries. At the same time, they're just basically giving in to accounts that are going against the government or are saying things that may be against local religious standards and so forth. I wish they talk a big game, but I wish they would really enforce it. I really do. There's a good article over on the Washington Post talking about Operation Choke Point. The Justice Department's Operation Choke Point initiative has been shrouded in secrecy. Now it's starting to come to light. This particular reporter heard about the program in January through an article over at Breitbart.com, and since then it's been difficult to discover details about it. And really what it is the Department of Justice and bank regulators are putting the screws to banks and other third-party payment processors to refuse banking service to companies and industries that are deemed to pose a reputation risk. And this can include ammunition sales, escort services, get-quick-rich schemes, online gambling, adult sites, payday loans, and so forth. So they're making it very hard for those groups to do banking. Now, this is pretty ironic, considering the Department of Justice and bank regulators are basically encouraging banks to provide banking service to illegal marijuana sites or sales. And at the same time, they're choking off financial services to legal industry. So it makes you go, just a little bit here. But a good read on the Washington Post on selective banking banning, I guess, for a better word. All right, told you today was going to be a short night or short show, but I want to leave you with a pretty eye-opening article, and it's from CNET to talk about suspended animation. Suspended animation trials are to begin on humans. Now, check this out. Knife and gunshot wound victims will be placed in a suspended animation as the first human trials begin on this emergency life-saving technique. This month, the world's first attempts at placing humans in suspended animation using this technique will take place at UPMC Presbyterian Hospital in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you get shot, so basically what's going to happen is the technique will initially be used on 10 patients whose wounds would otherwise be lethal and attempt to buy the surgeon's time. So it's like a 7% group that come in and they've got something that person's going to die right now if they don't do something. So what they're going to do is they're going to remove. Now this sounds crazy, and they're going to do this to try to give the surgeon some extra time. They're going to cool the body. But it's not by applying an external temperature change. Instead, the team of surgeons will remove all the patient's blood, replacing it with a cold saline solution This will cool the body, slowing its functions to a halt and reducing the need for oxygen. Effects similar to this have been seen in accidents that basically skiers survived under a layer of ice. A guy that was survived 24 days without food and water by entering a state of hyperthermic hibernation. A variety of different things that happen, and they basically use this on humans to try to shut us down, let the surgeons do the repair before they re-kickstart us. They've practiced a lot on animals, and basically said all the control pigs whose body temperatures were left alone died. The pigs who were warmed back up at medium speed demonstrated a 90% survival rate, although some of their hearts had to be given a jump start. The pigs that were warmed up slow and fast had a 50 and 30% survival rate, respectively. Afterwards, the pig demonstrated no physical or cognitive impairment. It's saying this technique will only be used as an emergency measure on patients who have suffered cardiac arrest after severe traumatic injury, with the chest cavity open and having lost at least half their blood already. Injuries that see only a 7% survival rate. The survival rate of these patients will be then measured against a control group that has not received this treatment before further. I guess if you got a gunshot wound to the chest and you're wide open and you're bleeding out, this could be really proved to be pretty incredible. So, suspended animation trials to begin on humans. How do they get approval to do that? That's some crazy stuff here. Okay, let me look here. What else have I got? I think that's it. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I hope you had a great Memorial Day. Again, thanks to all the veterans out there for your service and family members that support those veterans. Thank you so much. And we don't ever want to forget the basis of Memorial Day, even though a lot of people go out and do barbecuing and stuff. There are cemeteries full of dead airmen, Marines, sailors, Coast Guardmen, Army personnel. And I hope I didn't miss airmen. Yeah, so all the services, Merchant Marines. So they've done a lot for this country, and we appreciate all their service and their sacrifices, and thank everyone else that has served. We definitely appreciate you, and it's a great day to reflect, and I hope many of you did that. Oh, those of you that are outside the United States, you guys were at work today, and we hope that everyone is doing good. Other than that, everyone will see you next time. We'll take care. We'll see you. Aloha.